it's very interesting where when we did Google down, Meta up, everything was going good. All of a sudden it did this, and then everything got worse. That is how touchy MMM is. That's how touchy Performance Max is. When I say Performance Max is driven by external forces, I'm not making shit up. This is a company that sells juice cleanses. Fantastic brand, fantastic company. I have nothing but amazing things to say about all the people there and the product themselves.
We talked about them a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah. This is the people that we did this where we just doubled the ad spend in Meta and then kept the ad spend low inside of Google and went from a average. Well, what we did is we had an average of 97 for the last 5 weeks compared to the previous 5 weeks, which was, Google's calling me, screw off Google. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it went from 98 down to 97. And then this last 2 weeks shot up to kind of, 117 and down back down to 107. So kind of like you can see a little bit of a break in structure of our average of our NCAC. Now, a few things that work here. Yes, week before Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you typically see a little lull, people saving their pennies. We just had Prime Week again, freaking in Amazon. So this last week, if you have some e-commerce clients or even non-e-commerce clients, lick your wounds, but so is everyone else. Like, that's just how it goes. But there is something important to discuss because this here was a flipping of the MMM model. What you can see is we went from 9 and 27, and then 9 went to 11, and 27 went down to 19. Now, this is kind of interesting because the in-platform Meta ROAS says, good job, you did more, when actually that was not true. So this is the first iteration or first thing to kind of track is, okay, ROAS went up the last week, which is the week of the 10th. Now in our top line here in that week of the 10th, when this was moved here, we actually lost 8% new customers and lost 4% returning. So we're down. We're down inside of Instagram and we're down inside of Facebook. We are down across the board in all of our conversion rate breakdowns, but our conversion rate is still higher at 18%. We just have 17% less users. Now, this is kind of interesting because there is a little bit of like, well, things are not going good, but things are not going bad. But what happened here? Now, this is what happened. Last week, I get an email from the client that says, hey, I'd like to spend a little bit more inside of Google, especially if we can hit that TROAS target. Let's spend more. And I said, okay, I'm expecting, as from our previous discussions, that we were going to be also increasing Meta. He pulled a little fast and switch on me and then decreased Meta a bit. I was like, that explains what we are seeing in Google. Now watch this. There was $8,000 less inside of Meta, $2,000 more inside of Google. So that is a total of 10K switch. If you think about it that way, 8 out, 2 in. So it's a 10K change. Now, we were only spending 36. Yeah. So we're only spending 36 and now we're spending 31. So 5K reduction, 10K change.
Yeah.
You know how I say Performance Max is a lot of heavy remarketing?
Yes.
This is something that I now have a lot of proof on. You see over to the right, you have a cost and a conversion value. See how they diverged hard right here? You got the cost that was heading in the right direction. You got the conversions that are heading in the right direction. And then the red went up and the blue went down. That is
okay.
Bad.
So red's cost, blue is conversions.
Yeah. So when red goes up, cost goes up, but conversions go down, blue goes down, probably not a good day. So the delta between these 2 points here, when they get bigger, is not a good situation.
Yeah.
Obviously. So what we're looking at here is the date of the change was the week of the 10th. Now, if we look inside of here, this is the 12th. This is when actually the change took place. When this is what we were discussing with the client. So on the 13th to the 17th, compared to the previous period, check this thing out. We have 35% increase in cost, a 90% reduction in conversion rate, right? Our conversions went down by 8%. But you can also see that the CPC only during this time period here, the CPC did go up by 10%. And we only got 22% more clicks. So we spent 35% more in cost, only got 22% more in clicks. The clicks were 10% more expensive, and we actually lost 8% of our revenue. Damn, that sucks. Now, if we look at just the week over week, this is where we can start to see the change in now the actual efficacy of the campaign. What I mean by that is this a time period where he's like, John, increased budget. I'm like, sounds good. And I threw 64% more ad spend in here. This is 2 days before the reduction inside of Facebook, or the 1 day before the reduction inside of Facebook. Now, what you can see here is the conversion rate's only half down because the ad spend was increased for sure. Like as soon as you add in cold traffic, your conversion rate's going to tank because you're adding a whole bunch of cold traffic to a warm funnel. Those people are not going to convert as well. You're basically saying there's a whole bunch of people in the checkout in my store. So bring in 100 more people in the front door, and you're expecting the 100 more people in the front door just going to walk to the checkout. No, they got to go shop. So they're shopping right now. I expect the conversion rate to drop. But what was interesting is over the course of this time period, we actually see that Google will very much be very, very, very happy going and increasing your cost per click by 25%, which means your clicks only went up by 31%. Okay, so if your cost per click goes up 25%, and then you're on top of that, you're adding in 64% more ad spend, it means that only 30% more traffic. So traffic became very, it's actually like a 2-to-1. Every $2 I put in, now I get one person. Before it was every $1 I put in. 60% increase, but only 30% increase, twice as much. So this is where we can start to see this diverging now. And so I'm sitting there looking at, I'm like, how did we spend 64% more? I only gained 12% of the traffic. But then when you cut the week in half, it looks like really, really bad. Now it's all of a sudden diverging. It's heading the other way. I'm like, well, shit, I'm still spending 30% more. Now my conversion rate went from -50 to -77. My conversion went from +6 to now -16. My conversion value went from +8 to now -28. My CPC is getting 10% more expensive. And now I only have 18% more clicks for the 30% more cost. Geez, what is going on? And that is the diversion. That's a diversion from the strategy here. You can actually see that this was on path to being like really good. And then boom. So when people are like, John, what should I do with Performance Max? It's like, run more meta.
But it's attributing more. It's attributing so much better results.
Right.
It's bottom
This
of
is
funnel.
how,
Yeah.
exactly right. This is how sensitive the black boxes are. So when I say keeping a 70-30 split or a 60-40 split, it's not because I feel like it's good. It's not it at all. I know that there was a highest amount of cold traffic coming from Meta that Google could convert. Now, when we look at also at the top line and we look at the same date range here, you can now see that what's funny is my Google search has 8% more inside of here.
It's attributed correctly, John. Come on. It's 100%
Exactly right.
accurate.
Everything's perfect. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, just trust the numbers and scale, and you're good.
Yeah, just take your +1 that we think and just all of the actual traffic that's -3. Just ignore that. The direct none, these ghosts that are coming out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, they just join in because that's just what happens. People just hear the brand once and then they tell their friends about it and they don't go organic. They know the exact website and they log in and buy right away.
Yeah, and Meta knows. Now let's do this. That was when we had the 10th through the 16th, the 10th through the 17th. As time goes on, Google's getting worse, and now so is Instagram, and now so is Facebook, and all the ghosts are now buying at $3,000 less. And okay. So now what happened? So here's the thing. Now, when we're looking at these 4 weeks, look at 10-6 to 10-27. Okay. So 10-6 to 10-27, this time period here. All right. We increase spend on Facebook and decrease spend on Google. Green, actually, that's -21% for returning customer, which is technically green. So green. New customers up 50%. Green. Every step of the conversion funnel green. Our conversion rate went down 19%, but we did add 42% more traffic, so that's fine. Instagram's up 135, Facebook's up 90. Google search is now still up 0.6, and these are all good. And then look at the ghosts. The ghosts are now buying at 1.3% more. These random people that can never be from Facebook because attribution matters, right? So everything was green as soon as we started adding ad spend. Now flip that to now this the time period here where we did the reverse and we spent more on Google than Meta. Red. That's actually better, but that's also because we tank spend and there's time lag. Red. I mean, everything. Well, Capital One Shopping made like $500 more. Wow. But the ghosts are down, Google's down, Instagram's down. No. So how did going from 9 to 12, everything is bad? Going from 27 down to 19, everything is bad. But when we went from like our average of 12,000 down to 8,000 on Google, and we actually scaled up Meta, everything was good. What does that tell everybody? that 3 weeks ago, before today, again, we're in the future now. So go back into the past. And if you go back into the past when we made the original MMM video and I said, hey, look at the actual conversions after we reduced Google and started increasing Meta, everything was better. This week we reversed it and nothing is good. Every single thing is bad. That is how the MMM model work. Huh?
But that's due to the lower cost though.
The NCAC is better up until 2 days before this week started. So it was like the
lag time of the new.
Yeah, the week started and then 2 days later the change happened. And now it's at 107, but it's more like 114 right now. It's only 3 days.
I see. $3. So it's overlapping.
It is overlapping, right? So That's the bad part. Is like the change happened on the week of or the 10th or the 8th. No, the 12th. And then it was measured on the 10th though. So we're at 5 of the 7 days. So it is worse, but it's very interesting where when we did Google down, Meta up, everything was going good. All of a sudden it did this and then everything got worse. That is how touchy MMM is. That's how touchy Performance Max is. When I say Performance Max is driven by external forces, I'm not making shit up. Like this is
even shopping too.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's more platform based, I feel like, than, I mean, obviously company based mainly, but platform based more so than like specific campaign based, how it seems.
Yep.
This with Google.
That's exactly right. Okay, switching gears. So we got a lot to cover today. So
one point on that though. One point on that real quick was that you can find efficiencies though based on scaling Google and keeping that at a certain ratio. So like this isn't like a rule to say like this is the exact ratio that you need for your business. This is more so like, hey, try this, reiterate, and then go back and see if that's a better ratio, and then hold the ratio if you find it more efficient, because then you find out, hey, Meta works better for my business as higher spend. It's 80%, Google's 20%. Keep that ratio, scale up.
Well, you're definitely looking for your traffic's flow. You know, if there's a lot of people that are finding out about you cheaply and effectively on Meta that have to get remarketed and re-engaged on Google, so be it. Does it mean Meta is better? No. Hey, if you like this video, we have a school community where we have a few hundred members and we cover topics, everything from the basics to all the way to the like hyper crazy advanced stuff that's like coming out next month. So a few hundred members there. We go live twice a week, something with an hour-long education about something that is very relevant to the community that week, plus a weekly Q&A where you just get to come and bring us all of your problems and we solve them one at a time.
So I have a link below in the description if you want to join. And then obviously if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and we can answer those for you. And we'll see you in there.